Hello, and welcome to It's Already In You podcast. We are your hosts, Liz
and Janine, nutrition and movement experts, mothers and business owners, obsessed with helping you quiet the noise of diet culture.
Seeing through the false advertising and promises of our food and fitness industries, helping you discover that everything you need to upgrade your health and well-being is already in you. Welcome to the new year. This is our second episode of the new year, and today we are going to be talking about mindset and motivation. And some of you guys might have goals that you are working on off of the new year, but this topic really doesn't pertain to a new year, new you type of mentality. It really is something that is unique to each person and can be used in all areas of your life. So whether that's career or fitness or new habits or kind of bringing back to life old habits that maybe made you feel good, or just like lifestyle practices, how are those led? How are those supported? And how are they going to feel good? And often I go back to the thought of, what is your mindset around it? How do you feel, or how do you curate motivation in your life? Because it's just not going to come. I mean, we're recording this in January on a freezing, windy day. It can be easy to not feel motivated to do A, B, or C. So what does that look like for each of us? And how does that pertain to pushing us or supporting us through life so that we are consistent, that we do have a lifestyle, that what we choose to do to make us feel our best isn't always when it's just easy, right? We don't need the motivation. It's just there because, it's really never going to be there. It's our
right.
choice. We are the one that walks into the studio or picks up the healthy foods and makes it, or sends that resume in for a new job, whatever that might be. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about personally what motivates us, and any sort of mindset practices that we feel maybe helpful or give you some ideas. So let's start, Janine. When you feel like, from a practitioner, from a professional point of view, you see people fizzling out, maybe that's not the right word, or struggling. What do you feel like is helpful in terms of a mindset approach or a motivation kind of driver to get over that hump?
One of the things I think is hugely important, and we've spoke to this before, is that people tend to, especially around this time, go after something like all in, right? Like they're 110% in, and it may be like the first 3 weeks of January or the first 2 months, or, after the new year or whatever it is. And then that fizzle out does start to happen, or they miss a day and then they're like, oh, I ruined it. Or, they miss a couple days. I think motivate yourself by thinking, this doesn't mean if I miss a day or 5 that it's over. Motivate yourself by thinking, okay, so I missed a day, and tomorrow I'm going to do it again, right? And it's going to just be a part of my lifestyle. And if I miss 3 days in a row, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm not going to forget it until next New Year's, or, start something else on the following Monday. I'm going to continue to keep these healthy habits in my life as much and as often as I can, rather than thinking, oh, I messed up, so I'm done now. I think that is a huge, huge, huge piece of, and I want to call it failure, but our good intention to keep something going when we don't continue it, or we lose sight of it for even a minute, we think we have failed, or we didn't reach the goal, or whatever wording you want to use. And I think that we need to start looking at it a little bit lighter. And that if it doesn't happen every single day, it's okay that it doesn't happen every single day. Lifestyle is ebbing and flowing and changing, and we need to get in that mindset that we're going to have days it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and when we kind of, when you were just saying that, I'm like, that happens in all areas of our lives. Like parenting, that happens every day. There are some days that I am hitting it out of the park and I'm showing up for all the things that I need to do as a parent, and other days not so much. It's a struggle, or something is kind of not feeling right in terms of interaction or whatever it might be, but I'm showing up the next day and I'm going to keep putting that effort forth. And more days than not are great days. And if I let, the bad days get in the way, then, I mean, obviously you're not going anywhere as a parent, but you're not going anywhere as a human being, as someone who cares for yourself.
Right.
So you just keep moving forward. I like that thought process. I like how that feels when you apply it outside of yourself. A lot of times you can see things more clearly when you're not personalizing them so much.
Yes.
So that is great kind of like thought of mindset. So now, saying what you just said, you have that mindset. How would someone motivate? Like, how would they be like, okay, this is how I'm thinking, every day I'm just going to do my best. And if I slip or something is not quite right, I'm going to commit to it the next day. What are some practices that can be motivating to get people to support that mindset?
Right. So I really feel like if you write it down, it will happen. Right. So starting your day off, or even the night before you go to bed, I find that writing things down before I go to bed helps me with my wind down routine.
Oh my God, totally. I have a notes in my phone that I'm just put 2 words or it's gone. If I don't write it down, it's
if I don't write it down, forget it. I think of everything while I'm lying in bed at night.
Yeah, you're a genius. You solve the world, and you're in bed or in the shower.
Absolutely.
I'm we're all gonna be fine here, and then it's gone.
And then it's gone. Yep. And I think of the greatest things ever. I'm like, wow, that is going to be so good for everyone to hear, and then it disappears. So definitely, the night before, I feel like, if you're a night person and you know that you're going to be lying there and thinking about all these things and it's going to make it hard for you to go to sleep, probably a good thing. If you're rushing out of the house in the morning and you know you're never going to get to the pad and paper or to your phone before you leave the house, do it before you go to bed. But if you are the type of person that wakes up and has your coffee and has a little time to think about what your day is going to be like, what your routine is going to be like, I definitely feel like in all aspects, as far as getting more organized, decreasing your stress, and acting as a motivator, if you schedule out your day before your day happens. So knowing okay, I know I have a meeting at 9. I know that if I don't get this done before noon, it's not going to happen. Then you need to figure out where in your schedule you're going to do it. And then checking it off makes it so
good.
Oh, it's isn't that just a feeling of it just feels so accomplished and
so good.
Yeah. I love to-do
Check
lists
it
that
off.
you can check off.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes especially if I'm in kind of a funk, I will literally write down switch the laundry, or the most, it doesn't have to be
simple
finish
stuff.
my website, or go for 3, I will write down the most simple things because they build off of each other. And I find, and when you're overwhelmed, or if your mood is low, or you're in a really stuck spot, the simple things are big things. The simple things of just getting up and living life and doing the next right thing is a big thing. So when I find myself in those places where I'm feeling really not any sense of rooted, I will be and put the mail in the mailbox and check that off. And then eventually it becomes a little bit more the bigger things, the more kind of things that maybe are new to my schedule, or that I really need to prioritize. But
there's something about checking off those little things that you're going to do. It's sort of the same mindset as giving yourself little goals that will eventually become a bigger one, right? So if you can, you're going to switch the laundry. So checking that off feels good and leads you to the next thing on the list.
Totally. Yeah. It's you're creating your own little path.
Yeah.
And exactly what we talk about here often, you guys, it is simple. It doesn't need to be this grand whole big plan. Taking, the notes in your phone or the back of an envelope or something.
List on the phone. I think there is a to-do.
Yes.
I feel like I've said, I'm driving and I'm oh, I got to remember to write that down. But I'll say hey, Siri.
Yes.
Say so my phone listens.
Yes.
But put this on my to-do list. And I feel like she has said,
There, you
I
don't
cannot
have
do
one.
that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I've created one in Notes, and you can create like a little box and like click it, and then it puts a check on it. So like when I did Christmas shopping this year, I wrote it down, and then I checked off all the things I got. So I do the same with that.
I got to share my Christmas shopping app with you.
Oh, is it called The Wish or something?
No, it's called Christmas Gifts or something.
It's called Christmas shopping.
Yes.
So Mason, my oldest son, had one, and he kept like sending me the link to it, but would keep revising it. And I'm like, buddy, one time, one time, you can't take away an ad. But also like, even like I would say, as much as we're saying like these links and stuff, there's something to be said for an old pen and piece of paper and just like tried and true, write it out what you need to do. It feels good. So beyond that, what are some other things that you would say that are mindset hurdles? And it doesn't even need to be like nutrition or fitness, just that people really have in life of trying like new things. Like, I want this dream job, or I want to go to this, I want to try yoga, or I want to whatever. And like something stops them. Like,
what is fear?
What is that? Yeah. What do you see? Like when people come to the studio, or they say, I want to come to the studio, but I'm not ready yet, or I can't come yet, or I need to work out before I work out. But not
there's
even
so
really
many.
that.
I think there's so many things. I think that like a lot of people say they want to be fit before they go. They want to lose weight before they go to the gym, or they want to, they feel uncomfortable because they don't think that they'll be able to do what everybody else in the class is doing.
Yeah.
The fear of, I guess, being watched when you don't really know what you're doing. And that can be scary for sure, right?
That can be scary. And there are some places that you walk in and
very intimidating.
It's intimidating or uncomfortable in all areas, in every area of life. And so, some of that I can understand is real, or maybe based off of prior experiences. And I would think that it's more than just like obviously walking into a fitness place or walking into something that's, it's not personal. You can always walk out and leave. No one needs to stay. I think it's built off of insecurities. There's a reason you're not there. Probably you're not doing those things because you are fearful, or you don't have the confidence, or there is something inside of you that doesn't feel like I'm worthy, or I am whatever, to go in regardless of shape or size, regardless of like experience. Like, I just want to try. Like, and I think that is a mindset F, for lack of better. We do that to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And thinking that through, I think a motivation or a practice to kind of help combat some of that is looking around, and not looking around in a way of judging other people. I always find this like when I go to the beach, like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like so critical of myself of putting on the bathing suit. But then I look around and there are so many different body shapes, sizes, people running up and down the beach, in the water, like not caring. And there's probably plenty of people that do care, but like you see a mass of people just living in their bodies and lives. And it, when you open up your eyes past yourself, when you go to a fitness class, I know at Fit Life, like you look in a class and there's all ages, all sizes, all abilities, finding success. So when we get outside of our box, so that could be a practice for someone that really feels like, I'm not ready yet, or I need to do this before, or I need to be better at this. And it's just kind of, that time's really probably never going to be there.
Yeah. Even like a buddy system, like people have said to me in the past, like going into a new place, you should have people that are like your representatives, you know what I mean, like your ambassadors, that if a new person comes in, they can say, it's my first time, I'm feeling a little like lost and a little intimidated. And it's funny, one of my clients said this morning, she saw this new kid coming into class, and he's been in a few of the classes with her, and she's like, I wanted to make him feel really welcome. She said, and I got so embarrassed because then I found out he works here.
Oh.
But like, how sweet,
so
right?
Sweet.
Like even if you said to where you're going, like I'm sure anywhere that you go, if you'd say, do you know anyone that's been coming for a while that like wouldn't mind like taking me under their wing when I'm going to class and just showing me like where to put my stuff and where to get my props and, you know, and just feel a little bit more a part of the community before having to like become a part of the community.
Yeah.
I think that would be like, and I don't think anyone should feel weird about asking for that. I think that should be something that the studio or the fitness facility or wherever they're going feels great about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, and there are some amazing facilities out there that embrace like that like you are, you know, welcoming in, and they teach their staff to like notice a new person without being awkward, like welcome, you're new over the microphone, but right. You know, to walk up and, you know, I think that life is unpredictable and it's short or it can be, you know, and you just don't know what the next day is going to be. And so to practice like, you know, that mindset of that, of like, what do I want to do? How do I want to feel? Like, think that through, not just like, you know, I want to feel good. I want to be skinny. Like, I want to feel strong in my body so that I can play with my kids. I want to feel like I don't lose my breath when I walk up the stairs. I want to feel like I am growing in my career. Like, really think that through, because the more confidence that you build with like the things that you want. I know, you know, I think we all probably have some limiting beliefs around certain things. And the things that I feel like I struggle with the most in my life are the things that I have in my head for some reason that I am not capable of or not worthy of. And when I get stuck in that pattern of thinking, it kind of paralyzes me and nothing happens. So if you're thinking about that with nutrition and working out and stuff like that, you'll never get to that gym. You'll never get your heart rate up so you don't lose your breath, or that you feel strong so that you're playing with your kids. So, you know, stopping those limiting beliefs or practicing stopping those is really like a key to opening the door to success. And so do you have any practices for people with limiting beliefs? Like, what would you, if someone's like, I just have this like noisy thoughts, what would you say to someone to check that?
So I want to piggyback off of what you just said really quick, because finding your why, I think is like basically what you just said, just in a broader term, right? Like, so I think if you're having these doubts about what you're about to do, or that you can accomplish these goals that you are setting out to do, I think that, again, realizing that most of it is in your head, that you can't do it, because whatever we really want to accomplish, we can accomplish. I think we've all heard the saying, if you want to run, you have to run, right? So like thinking about what your why is, and how are you going to get to the place where you feel confident doing the thing? Whatever that thing is, right? If you're uncomfortable when you lose your breath, maybe you don't stay there that long the first few weeks, right? Maybe you get to the point where you feel like it's really hard for you to breathe and that you're starting to sweat a little bit more than usual, and then you back down so you know that you can come away from it, right? That there's always the recovery piece that feels so good after you got to the place that you want to get. And then you get a little bit more confident each time you do it that you can do it. And now I'm going to do it a little bit longer and a little bit longer. I mean, we've seen, and it's tried and true, those programs like the Couch to 5K or any of the programs that incrementally increase the things that you're doing, right? Work. So I think you can do that with anything, whatever your goals are, to motivate you. If you want to walk an hour every day, don't set out to walk the hour the first day or the 5th day or the 6th week. Maybe you start and you write down in the morning, today is going to be my first walk, and I'm going to work, if you've gone from doing nothing to something, maybe it's 5 minutes. And I'm going to do it to the point where I feel like on a scale from 1 to 10, I am at a 6 the whole walk, and then maybe we do that for a week. And then next week you say, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes and I'm going to feel like I'm on a 7 on a scale from 1 to 10, right? And you sort of develop your own programming, incremental increases of intensity as you go. And as you accomplish each one of those, you're motivated to do the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you start to see the benefits. You start to feel the benefits, see the benefits when you're allowing yourself that process of building up to a greater goal, whatever that probably ultimate goal is that you had, kind of stepping back and seeing those smaller steps. And then you're like, oh, wow, I feel what I wanted to feel, or I'm seeing play out what I hoped would in my career or in my relationships or whatever that might be.
Sometimes you need the accountability a question for you, if you had clients that were feeling this way, that were feeling stuck, or that were feeling intimidated or scared or lack of motivation, how can you help them? How can someone like you in your position?
Yeah. I mean, I really ride the line between understanding and support, and knowing that everybody is unique to themselves. There's not one thing I would say to one person or another, but also having a little bit of a strong thumb on your commitment to yourself. Because what I know to be true is that the habitual voices that you've been doing, the sitting on the couch, is going to be louder than the 5K training until the 5K training becomes your consistent, right?
Right.
And so there needs to be a little bit of tough love. And that can come from writing something down. It can come from setting an alarm. That can come from having an accountability partner, somebody or something that says, pause, think, make a decision. And so I would work with someone setting that up. I have had clients before be like, you need to walk every day. You need to just be active. You sit behind a desk. So don't even think of it as exercise. Just go home and walk 20 minutes around the block. You just need to move your body. And it becomes, well, I'm tired at the end of the day and it's too dark in the morning and now it's too cold. And so even though they get the concept and they understand, I do need to walk, it becomes but because the goal then becomes the inconvenience.
Yep.
And so to take a step back and talk through that with someone, and that's where a lot of people get stuck. Yeah, it's not going to maybe feel great or be super convenient, or you're going to have to move some things around. Yeah. But I promise you, these realistic, everyday, healthy lifestyle goals, or anything in your life, the goals that you want for yourself, you don't need a whole life upheaval, right? Yeah. Yep. Everybody can find 20 minutes a day to walk. Go to the mall, find a treadmill, bundle up, go on your lunch break it up for 10 minutes. We've said this before, you find time to sit on the couch and scroll your phone. So just being that kind of realistic, and I try very hard in the kindest, most loving, but honest way. So did you sit on the couch last night for an hour? But you didn't find 20 minutes to walk. Yeah. And to see what that response is. I think we need to do more of that in that kind, not I'm going to break you down way.
Absolutely. I think it helps me to, if you do have a really productive day and you think about the things that you've got done in that day, you really can push that as your motivator into the next day. Holy heck, I did so much today. Yeah. Now, and even thinking on the level of if you watched a series on Netflix and you happen to bang out 4, right? Think about that. I mean, it doesn't have to be I ran 10 miles and I opened a business and I wrote a book, sure. Right? It could be I sat on the couch and I watched 4 episodes.
Yes.
And now I'm almost done with that, right? Whatever it is, think about the amount of time, like you said, when we talk about scrolling on the phone and you look at the clock, and if you set a timer and you realize that if you could take back those 2 hours that you spent scrolling on your phone, or those 3.5 hours that you spent watching your Netflix series or whatever it may be, that wasn't as productive for you, right? And I'm not saying watching your series isn't important, because it very well could be, but how can you get back the time you need to motivate you to do the things that you think you don't have the time for, right? And again, we do a lot of excuse making, excuse building in our lives. Like we've almost been like brainwashed to do that.
100%.
So, and there's so many aspects. We could do a whole episode on that, because, I mean, we come up with names for things that, when you do too much of something, whether it's good or bad or whatever, there's now disease names for it.
Or you struggle to do something, so then you have a diagnosis because it's hard for you versus figuring out how to do it unique to you.
Yeah, and they lead into this. I feel like those things lead you into more bad behavior more often than not. Yeah, it enables you. It's just not, to me, it's not a healthful or helpful way to evaluate yourself, Learning about yourself can be motivating. I'm reading The 5 Tendencies right now of people, and it's very helpful for me to even think about the type of clients that I work with and what they need from me to help them motivate themselves. You might not be the type of person that can handle, like you said, too much tough love, but you might be the person that can't handle the soft, sweet, kind way of motivating either. So like learning like what helps me, maybe you say to your trainer or to your health coach, I need you to push me harder. I know that I will do better if you tell me, on these days you need to get this done, right? Yeah. Maybe you're the type of person that needs to say to your health coach, your trainer, or to yourself, like, you need to find more grace, because if you are pushed, you push too hard, you go over your limit, right? Thinking about what you need to get to that goal or to that project or to that program or to that whatever it is that is your goal that you're trying to motivate yourself for, realizing what you need to get there just on a mental level, let alone the physical act of doing it. Yeah. Just trying to wrap your head around, okay, what do I need to do before I get there, right? Like, I remember you being young and you had to get ready to get ready.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You remember that? Like
totally.
Hanging on the couch with all your friends. Oh, we should get ready to get ready.
Yes.
Right? Whatever that meant.
Yeah.
Like,
and now, years later, it's like literally 5 minutes. I feel like if I have 5 minutes,
I have
like all the time in the world. I'm like, oh my God, I have 5 minutes. I can like whatever, put some mascara on or something. I can get there and do all the things. Yeah. I think, what we keep coming back to is really starting from a place of just self-honesty, right? Just looking at no judgment, but honest. Like, where am I in my life? Where am I with my day-to-day habits or the things that I want for myself? And how can I meet myself in a place that feels like it's going to help get me there while also being realistic? Yes. With also honoring my busy life or honoring the process of learning and growing. I would safely say that a lot of these limiting beliefs or a lot of these things that might be blocks to that are probably things that have been learned over the years. And so giving yourself time, not only in the small steps of like, okay, I'm running, a 5K, I'm going to go out for 10 minutes this day, 20 minutes, not only in the actions, but also in kind of what we said in the beginning, the hiccups that come along with changing beliefs and changing something maybe that was, taught to you, whether it was consciously or subconsciously, but something that you received along the way that kind of got in your way of self-growth or confidence or whatever it may be. Or even if you are someone that like goes 110 miles per hour and does all the things and you're trying to teach or learn a little bit of softness or learn a little bit of relaxing or downtime, or, maybe I'm going to go to yoga class versus like 7 HIIT classes a week and allowing yourself to just soften a little bit. I think it's like that. This is the part of like my job or our job that is so fascinating, is that like the mind part, the psychology behind it, as much as like as a trainer or as, you know, a nutrition professional. I can say all day long, I think this is best for your body from what I see how your body move. But none of that really matters until like you learn, like you said, with the book you're reading or the things that we've practiced for years about each individual and kind of what is helpful for them.
Yes.
And that's me talking as a professional, but I'm also talking as a human being. Like I need
You
to
need
take
a
that
psychology degree, a business degree,
yes, all the
nutrition
things,
degree,
all
and
the
an
things,
exercise.
which
Yeah,
is
it's
why
like-
it can be overwhelming, and
is.
which we can go down the rabbit hole. Which is why a lot of times it's confusing because you have these non-degreed, non-professional people telling you, do A, B, and C, feel A, B, and C, do whatever it may be, and so
and not taking in the individual typically ever.
Yes.
Right? Like saying that is such a blanket statement
Yes.
is so easy to say, hey, we're going to start this episode and we're going to tell you how to motivate yourself.
Yes.
And this is it.
Yes.
You know, and that's just not, it just doesn't work.
just doesn't-
Right. There's nothing we can say that would work for every single person across the board.
Totally. Yeah. Because obviously you all have different things, and also like you have came from different places, different thoughts, different bodies, different whatever. So, yeah, I think that if you know me or you've heard me over the years, and I'm sure it's the same with you, is that like I can't have a conversation about just the actions. Like it always comes back to like what is driving them.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's like my message, I guess, from today's podcast is that if you are struggling, or if you feel a little bit lost, or if you feel like you want to try something, or you want to accomplish something, a hobby, something in your body, health, whatever it might be, take a moment and stop focusing on that exterior thing, and do a little work on what is driving you to either do it or not do it, what is going to sustain you when the days get hard, or when you're bored, or when you have temptation, or it's challenging. Like what does that look like for you? Because
even writing down those things like, am I not going to do this because it will affect my family? Will take away time from this? Will make people see me differently? I think all of those things are, like the mind side of it makes a huge difference in understanding why you can get something done and why you have struggles with getting something done.
Yeah, which is so cool and I love that we get to talk about that, because there is so much that is do this, buy this, do this. And some of it's great and fine, but it's nothing will amount to it unless you're like on board in a positive, sustainable way.
Yes.
And we know that you guys can do that. Everything you need, it's already in you.
It's already in you.
So hopefully this episode felt good. We are excited. We have some guests coming up in the next couple weeks that we will be sharing. So come back to this episode anytime you guys feel like a little bit stuck, for hopefully a friendly, loving reminder that it is all possible for all of us. Keep doing the right thing. The next right thing will happen. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, always reach out to us. It's already in you. On Instagram, and then email us at it's already new podcast at Gmail. And this podcast was recorded at MMTV 360 Main Street in Melrose. So visit them online at mmt3.org. They're located, like I said, in Melrose, and it's a podcast studio that people can come and record their own podcasts in. So check them out, and we will be back here real soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.